Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time seeing one of my videos. My name is Jennifer and I am not your typical mom. So, I know it's been a while, and I know I said I was going to do a video for my daughter, and here it is finally. So if you guys don't know my story, I didn't know I was pregnant in 2019, 2020, and yeah, it was pretty traumatic. Went to I was not feeling very good at the end of January, and I think I was like 5 or 6 days in labor at home, thinking I had like trying to like poop. Sorry for the TMI here, but it just felt like I really had to poop, and it was just felt like constipated. I was bloated, and I just didn't understand why. We were trying for years to get pregnant prior, so didn't think of it. Didn't want to put myself through that sadness again. Get my hopes up. So I never took a test, thinking, especially when I started feeling bloated, I just didn't want to put myself through that anymore, of checking. So, just didn't. And, I feel terrible every single day of my life for this, but I can't beat myself up about it because I really, truly didn't know, right? And also mental illness. I have severe depression and anxiety and PTSD from the experience, but then also I had severe anxiety and depression prior, and I didn't know it. So suffering with mental illness for years, without getting any help, and didn't realize it. And then my breaking point was after we lost our son. I found out I had a beautiful baby boy, well, after I gave birth, when they told me I was pregnant, and I was 40 plus weeks, and it just shocked me. And I don't know. But yeah, miss him every single day. I wonder what he'd be today, for costume wise today being Halloween. My daughter today is going to be a pineapple. She's not dressed in it yet. I will show you guys that later if you want, with a picture or something, probably toward the end, or a little video maybe toward the end, with a little clip of us going out and about with our neighbors, anyways, seeing our neighbors. And me and my husband are peanut butter and jelly, because we went to a Halloween party on Saturday night with our daughter. She only stayed for a little bit of it, and then because it was right downstairs anyways, and one of our neighbors right below us. I live in like a carriage style condos, and we own, so like we have our own entrance. We don't have like a building, so it's just carriage style. So it's like one that was really strange. So our unit's on the top, and then there's a unit on the bottom, and then there's units beside us as well, only on one side of us because we're like an end unit. But anywho, yeah, so went to her place and then brought her upstairs and stuff like that, so be with my mother-in-law. But yeah, and we were peanut butter and jelly on like a toast with like bread. It was cute. So yeah, anyways, here I'm gonna show you my daughter. Just give me 2 seconds here. Hi, baby. Hi. Is he awake now? Is he awake now? In your bottle? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's take this off. Let's take this off. Your little bib. Drill bib. All right, everybody. The moment you've all been waiting for. Here's my daughter. She is 5 months old today. Says my first Halloween. She's 5 months old. Almost 5.5, I guess, essentially. Yeah. Her name is Mia. Mia Ruth is her middle name. She has a spinal condition called caudal regression, so her spine ends at L3, which is in the lumbar section, and the third vertebrae down is all it ends at. And so she's missing a couple of her L vertebrae, and then all of her sacrum, which is the S section. So yeah, so her like legs, they said her legs wouldn't be able to move, like her legs wouldn't move in the, like they said while she was still in the womb, that there was no leg movement. As soon as this bar and brace and boots are off, as you can see, she has clubbed foot, so which is why she wears this. And right now she's been wearing it for almost 3 months straight for 23 hours a day. So she's off for an hour a day. And it's just to help, because she was casted before, so she actually had them casted into the right position, and then she ended up getting what's called a tenotomy. So they cut her Achilles tendon and straightened out her foot because her feet were like really curved in when she was born. Yeah, and she's really, really tiny. She was 6 pounds 5 ounces. But she is very, very tiny. Like, she's not very like long. Her legs are short. The bottom parts of her legs are a little bit smaller than like the average baby. Even her legs are not as quite as big as the average baby. So she is like kind of average on the top. She's a little bit smaller than most. But yeah, so that's her condition called caudal regression. Yeah. Or it's also called sacral agenesis. But yeah, so pretty much, you know, it's almost kind of like spina bifida, and it's a really rare condition, caudal regression. So yeah, so there's no specific doctor for caudal regression, so she's going to be seeing like a spina bifida doctor. But yeah, and so she's had like she's had 1 procedure done. Well, technically 2, because the tenotomy was the procedure, but it was just under local anesthetic and not being, you know, under anesthetic where she was put to sleep. She was put to sleep once for 1, but they couldn't do the procedure because, you know, it was for her hips, because she has hip dysplasia as well, because without the sacrum, she does have a hip socket, they said, but it was hard to put them back in. But yeah, also her doctor thinks that she'll be able to walk. We weren't too sure about that before she was born, because, you know, it's hard to tell inside the womb and stuff like that. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, when she came out, her legs were kicking and stuff like that. And even though I kind of knew it, but I was kind of surprised at the same time because we didn't really know what to expect. Yeah, we had no idea what to expect till she was born, really, and what kind of life is going to be like for her. She could need a wheelchair for longer walks, to get around longer distances. That was my finger. But yeah, she also could just need like a brace to help with, like, you know, the back of her feet. But yeah, there's my little girl Mia, and we love her, and we're just so blessed. And she looks just like her big brother. And, you know, I talk about her big brother all the time to her, even though I know she doesn't understand it. And obviously, as she gets older, we'll talk about Benny more. But yeah, it hurts my heart every single day that I don't have them both with me. But yeah, we miss Benjamin so much. But they look so much alike. They really, really do. What else can I say? Yeah, the birth was kind of traumatic as well in some senses. So I went into the hospital. They called me because I was being induced, because they didn't want me going to 40 weeks, just because of the prior stillbirth. And then also me having diabetes, which I'm a type 2 diabetic, not gestational. But I'm not on insulin anymore. Like, I was on high amounts of insulin when I was pregnant. Like a crazy amounts. I was taking well over 100 units a day, probably almost 200 units a day, or maybe it was over 200 units by the end. I don't quite remember, but I was on lots and lots of insulin. And actually my endocrinologist, she was very surprised that I wasn't going to need insulin after birth. But yeah, I'm taking metformin now for just my diabetes and check my blood sugars and stuff like that. But I've been really good. Like, yeah. But anywho, so because of all that, they don't let you go past 40 weeks. Like, they don't want you going past up to 40 weeks. So I was induced. First, it was supposed to be induced at 37 weeks. But then my OB pushed it to 38 weeks. And then all of a sudden she pushed it to 39 weeks. So I went in at 39 weeks to the day. So she was supposed to be born on the 18th of May. And she was born the 19th of May. So I went in on the 18th at like 11 in the morning. Or was it? Yeah, it was 11 in the morning I went in. And then right away, you know, they put me on monitors to check her. So it was like a non-stress test. So I was on that for hours upon hours. And then I had my last meal at like around noon or 1 o'clock. No, it was around 2. I had it around 2 because I had a big breakfast prior. And obviously they didn't start me on any Pitocin or anything like that. So, you know, they had to check to see how far along I, like, you know, my cervix and stuff like that and how dilated I was. And then they just did like a quick little sweep and I was dilated enough just to be put on Pitocin. So I was put on Pitocin and then I had to stop eating. So I can only drink water. So that's all I had for hours upon hours. And then, you know, so I was on the Pitocin, and then they also had to give you like insulin as well with it. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. Never experienced that before. So there was that. And then, you know, they kept saying, oh yeah, you know, we're gonna break your water, and it was hours upon hours later. They didn't break my water till about what time did they break my water? At about, they wheeled me in at about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, around 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And then they broke my water. And then I actually asked for the epidural, so I got it in, but I only had it on for half an hour, and you're supposed to have it in for an hour before you can start pushing the buttons and for it to actually fully kick in and work. And I was only on it for about less than half an hour, and I had to push. And I almost had an emergency C-section because her heart rate was going up and down, and it was getting lower. And I like screamed like, I have to push. And my husband was pushing on my back because I had really bad labor pains in the back. Is that so? Oh my goodness, are you talking to my friends? Are you talking to our friends? They're your friends now too. Yes, they're your friends now too, Mia. Woo. Yeah. So then, yeah, so my water broke. She broke my water, and then her heart rate was everywhere, and I only was pushed for 6 minutes. By the time I was able to push, because I like screamed like, I have to push. And then she checked my cervix and then like, yeah, go for it. And then I pushed. And yeah, I was only pushing for 6 minutes and she was out. And I did get like a 3rd-degree tear. But she also had problems, like I think she swallowed some amniotic fluid, so she did have problems like breathing for a little bit and like crying, but she did come out crying a little bit. I was like traumatized because of everything. And I kept crying and saying, is she alive? Is she alive? Is she alive? And my husband was just like, Jen, you can see her right there. Can't you see her moving? She's trying to cry. Can't you hear it? And I was just so traumatized. Excuse me. And then, you know, because of everything and her condition, they brought her right up to the NICU. And so first she was up there just because of the breathing. Yeah, so she was put on the CPAP there for, not for very long. Yeah, so then she was in the NICU, and then I was recovering, and I didn't probably hold her for 15 hours after. Well, probably 12 hours after I gave birth to her. She was born at 12:01 in the morning. And then because of the epidural, it numbed only half of my body, so I couldn't move my legs, so it wasn't safe for me to get up out of the bed to go see her up in the NICU. So I couldn't see her, but yeah. And then we had problems like latching because she was bottle fed for a bit in the NICU. So she was actually in the NICU for 10 days as well, because she had jaundice really bad. And then she also was in there also for, she has a swallowing condition as well. Hopefully it gets better over time. We're going to check that soon because she's going to start eating solids soon. Right, Bella? Right. Yeah, so, where was I? I'm just scatterbrained. Yeah, is that so? Bumba 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 bum. Yeah, so yeah, she's in the NICU for 10 days, sorry. And because of her swallowing condition, and then also for the jaundice, and it was mostly just because of the jaundice, but so she does take my milk, so I do pump. And that's what I was actually wanting to do, but then also still want to breastfeed, but then have introduced bottles too, so my husband can feed her, and other people could feed her. And so, but we tried, but she was she was getting bottle fed for a while because they didn't want to take her out of the incubator, and like stuff like that, and she was on breathing, and she was on just like tubes, so she had just like, she was tube fed. And then after that, she was bottle fed. So she was so used to bottles, and she, anyways, it's better because she couldn't, she has to have my milk thickened anyways. So we do thicken her milk, my milk, I should say, because she does just take my breast milk. So I do pump. I'm a pumping mom. I've been pumping for over 5 months now, and I'm so proud of myself, and I produced a lot. So the nurses were actually quite shocked within like 2 days, I think. By like day 2 or 3, I was already pumping a liter of milk a day. It's crazy, they said. Like, they were impressed. And then they said, oh, it'll probably deteriorate, but I swear I still pump so much. Like, I only pump 3 to 4 times a day, and I pump a lot. We have lots in the freezer. I even gave some to my sister because my sister is pregnant as well, and she gave birth in September to a beautiful baby girl as well. Nothing wrong with her condition wise or anything like that. Not like there's anything wrong with my daughter. She's just has a condition, and not much we can do about her condition really. And we had to just, you know, correct her clubfoot, which clubfoot happens 1 in 1,000 births. So yeah, so it's a common thing, but her condition is not very common. So yeah, there's just no doctors about that. But yeah, so she's seeing so many different kinds of specialists. Yeah, so being only 5 months old, she's on, like, last time we weighed her, which was at her pediatrician appointment, which was, I think, last week. Yeah, last week. And she was 11 pounds, 4.4 ounces. So she is she is very, very tiny. So yeah, the doctors are obviously concerned, but this doctor's never seen a baby with caudal regression before, and she's her pediatrician. So she's never, like, you know, had a patient with caudal regression before. Yeah. What else? Yeah, so she's kind of basing her off of just like a normal baby, and it's not right. So, but we joined a support group for caudal regression, and yes, and like there's a chart that, you know, they should be going by. That's my finger. So yeah, but according to those charts, we think she's like right on par. She's like on like the, like, you know, she's doing really good in our opinion. But yeah, so this is our Mia, and she's so beautiful, and we absolutely love her, don't we, Bubba? Yeah, and we cloth diaper, because I cloth pad, and I'm on birth control right now, so there's no babies right now, but we're thinking about one more. Yeah, we want to make her a big sister, hopefully, in like the next year or so, because I am 30, I'll be 33 this year in December, which is funny. She's born on May 19th and I'm December 19th. Just 32 years apart. But anyways, oh, hiccup. But yeah, so that's her story. She's gonna be having many, many more appointments, with different things. I probably won't get into like every little detail, but you guys feel free to ask me if you like. But yeah, she's doing amazing, and we love her, and we could not be happier. Obviously, we miss our son, and it hurts our heart every single day. But yeah, we see a lot of him in her, and it hurts our heart, but you know, we know he's watching over her and with her all the time and us, and he made sure she got to be here because, you know, at one point we were thinking of termination because the doctor made it sound like she wasn't gonna have a good life. But, and it hurts my heart that I might have said goodbye to this before I even got a chance to see this face. Like, look at her. She's just so cute. Mama's little girl. Mama's little girl. How's my Mia? Mama Mia. How's my Mia? Mama Mia. So yes, guys, so there is my daughter, and I'm so happy to show you guys and tell you her name finally. So Mia, M-I-A, and people think it's Maya whenever we go to doctors. It goes sometimes, like if it's a newer doctor that we're seeing, sometimes there people will be like, Maya. I'm like, it's Mia. Yeah, Mia. And you know, even like we go places for like blood work, Mia or Maya, they say, like, oh, it's Mia, yeah, Mia. So yeah, she's doing amazing. We are so happy, and she's healthy as she can be. Yeah, nothing else is really wrong with her. She does have one kidney. They did, we did know that in the womb, but they weren't too sure if it was just hiding, because sometimes that can happen. And that was a concern because we might have had to say goodbye if her kidney wasn't working, and you know, if she could even be on dialysis until she can get a kidney transplant. But yeah, that was scary. We had so many scares toward the end, which is why I also stopped doing videos there. Yeah, I was just getting hard and scared and, you know, excited but scared, but, you know, as we weren't too sure what we were going to be looking at, right? And, you know, what her condition was going to be like, and the kidney thing, and it was a stressful time. I'm just glad she's here, but I do miss being pregnant. I can't wait to be pregnant one more time, and you know, that'll be it. Hopefully, I mean, we'll see. I mean, me and my husband haven't fully decided yet, but we're still leaning toward it 5 months later. So we're pretty certain we're gonna try for one more babe and see what happens. So just gotta make sure to get my diabetes under control, which it has been. So yeah. So yeah, there's my little Mia Badia. We call her Mia Badia Ballerina. That's what I call her anyways. Yeah, we love her, and she's just a light and joy, and we cannot wait to be buying her all the things, and yeah. So guys, stay tuned for Christmas and stuff like that. We're excited for that, and I will put toward the end of this a little video of her in her Halloween costume and whatnot. So anyways, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Say bye-bye, Mia. Mwah. So, mwah. Bye, everybody. Talk to you guys later. Bye.